Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this closing event and presentation of the results of the regional project for strengthening of external control in the environmental area. This project, which aimed to help the Court of Accounts of the Union of Brazil and other supreme audit institutions of OLACEFS to effectively fulfill their institutional mission of improving public administration, especially regarding government investments in the environmental area. We will know a little bit about the results of this project throughout the event. So now we will start this event on May 6th, and we will be together between 3 and 4:30 p.m. Brasilia time. My name is Patricia Bermúdez, and I will accompany you facilitating this space during this hour and a half. The main objectives of this presentation will be know the main achievements of the regional project strengthening external control in the environmental area. To share these results also published in the regional magazine and know how this edition of the project results views opportunities and challenges for the SAIs aiming to the future. For this, we have an agenda that is divided mainly in two moments. The first moment will be a technical session where we will be together with Mr. Erwin Alberto Ramirez, who will be presenting the results and main learnings of the project on behalf of GIZ, Principal Director of the regional project. Then we will enter the theme of environmental governance and get to know a little bit of the magazine, the presentation of the results of the project made by Fabiana Diaz, and on behalf of COMTEMA, we will have Mr. Hugo Chudyson with a vision of the future, telling us a little bit about the opportunities and benefits of the technical cooperation for the SAI's community. And then we will start a protocol moment in which OLACEFS will be represented by Minister Augusto Nardes, who will comment a little on the contribution in the global context of external control of the Latin America and the Caribbean SAIs. Subsequently, also from OLACEFS, we will learn the perspectives of OLACEFS to assist and consolidate the impacts at national level in regional SAIs, and then we will have Dr. Jorge Bermúdez Soto, General Comptroller of the Republic of Chile. In addition, we will have the economist Nelson Chaki, who will comment on the regional strengthening of external control for a sustainable future. I would like to remind you that we are broadcasting directly in YouTube. Today's presentation and all the results will be recorded and it will be uploaded on OLACEF's YouTube channel. Today we will be having the participation of Esther throughout the first part of the technical agenda through the chat. Any questions you have, you will be able to ask in the Q&A icon in the center toolbar of Zoom. So for those who are not familiarized yet, we will have the general chat opened, which you already accessed and left your greetings. We saw the greetings on behalf of the SAIs through the chat, and this will be available during the closing part of the event. So let's start with our agenda, and starting with our technical session. And for that, I welcome Mr. Erwin Alberto Ramirez Gutierrez, who was in charge of the management of, on behalf of GIZ, the regional project to strengthening external control on the environmental area. And obviously, most of you already know him and know he also had a trajectory through OLACEFS and the different environments with the institutions as well, the SAIs. So I would like to welcome Erwin, and I invite you to open your camera, please, and to turn on your microphone.
Thank you very much, Patricia. Thanks for your kind introduction. Well, first of all, colleagues of OLACEF, I would like to greet you all. I hope that you all and your relatives and families are doing well. We are the GIZ, and I would like to express my gratitude and how happy I feel to be here with you all in this session. This is a special session which is aiming at commemorating or celebrating whatever we're doing on the strengthening of external control on the environmental field. I would like to greet the President of Peru, the Dr. Jorge Bermúdez Soto. I also thank him for being here. I would like to greet the Ministry Augusto Nardes, Hugo, Chudyson as well. I would like to greet him on behalf of the technical session of OLACEF. I would like to greet him. And also I would like to greet Fabiana Diaz, who has been a partner in this project, who is a specialist in communication. I would like to greet also all those SAIs who are with us today, colleagues, strategic partners, and all the public that is with us today. Almost for 5.5 years, and if we move to the next slide, please, in a strategic partnership with the different SAIs and also with the support of the Ministry of Cooperation in Germany, we've been able to work in different initiatives, and we've been able to successfully meet our purpose, something that started back in 2016. We want to foster the external control on environment field, and we want to support the SAIs so we can help them to achieve their goals. This well known the importance of the external control, and it's not exception for the German cooperation. We've been working for almost 1 decade, and also in other regions in which we have other projects which have been implemented in order to strengthen the capacities of the SAIs and to help them on their organization and to foster the cooperation with other stakeholders, and also to strengthen the knowledge and to contribute the benefit of the work they do. And as you all know, this is something that has to do with the value that we can add so we can improve the quality of the citizens. In almost 5 years in thinking in the environment, we have been able to cooperate with different instances of work of the organization, thanks to the cross-cutting contribution of the different committees, organizations, which are working on the implementation of the Agenda 2030. The effort of different people and the authorities of the SAIs has allowed us to make available different tools, workshops, and methodologies which are at the reach of the different entities which are in the region. One example is the MOOC courses, which we offer to different people in Latin America, the Caribbean region, and other regions. We do have 3 main areas of work in order to strengthen the different audit processes. We want to improve the mechanisms of cooperation between the SAIs, which are part of the OLACEF. We want to strengthen the internal communication and external communication with the stakeholders. The technical cooperations with the OLACEFs has allowed us to develop and to support different initiatives, as you can see on the screen. I would like to highlight that on top of the efforts in order to improve this kind of work, we needed to develop the capabilities of those who are part of the SAIs, and we're trying to help them to use other tools. We need to highlight the work that we're doing in order to strengthen the communication and also how we can work with the civil society, the coordinated audits. I'm sure this is something you know. These are initiatives with a greater scale which foster the construction of capabilities so they can exchange knowledge and they can develop competencies, and also they can have a regional landscape of this issue. This is a way in which we can support the different SAIs, and we hope this can contribute to the efficacy on the application of the recommendations that result from the audits. We are supporting 5 different coordinated audits, and many of them were done in protected areas in Latin America and the Caribbean, and there are others which are done in the Amazon in Brazil as well. These initiatives have allowed us also to identify the degree of the different SDGs, and we see that other SAIs are emerged from different regions. We also have the project, and we are very happy to be able to help on the methodology to prepare a 7th coordinated audits for the countries of the region as a result of the pandemic. On the screen, you can see only some of the initiatives which are more relevant, but you can see the different topics and the different approaches that the OLACEF has had, and we have been able to support technically during this period of time. On the screen, you can see that we've approached different kind of projects. We develop instruments which allow to monitor and do the follow-up of each of these applications of different recommendations of audits of the CDGs. In the last half of the year, we're trying to foster gender equity. We develop and support a communication strategy of the OLACEFs, which had an approach oriented to external areas. Environmentally, we have open courses online about communication strategies, about protected areas, gender equity, and other initiatives that I cannot show on the screen and that show the cooperation that we have had with all of you. Each of these initiatives has its own story, a work team that has a name, a surname, and authorities which supported these different initiatives. We can see the reports of audits. We do have fact sheets and other research and studies that resulted from this technical cooperation. We're very happy today to present one out of the 2 publications that show the main regional initiatives and the results that we obtained, and Fabiana Diaz will be telling us about it. We would like to highlight the joint results achieved. And if we can go to the next slide, you can see that we do have the different results that were obtained together. One, to foster the exchange of experiences and knowledge, and also the technical cooperation, the strengthening of the environmental audit processes. And this is something that has to do also with the development of capacities, also a greater and wider offer of OLACEFs in everything that has to do with the training and different tools that we were able to put together, the increase of quality, the scope of environmental audits, and all these tools that we have and all the methodology that we have, the strengthening of the SAI role for the implementation of the Agenda 2030, promoting events, and also being able to work with other stakeholders, methodological innovation, and this is something that has to do with digitalization as well, fostering the cooperation with other players and other external stakeholders as well. In this slide, I would like to highlight the approach that we had. As part of the implementation of the project, the focus was strengthening the competencies to support initiative development to foster a work so we can have an impact on institutional competencies and the competencies of the OLACEFs. So it's a way to think about competencies so we can have an impact not only in public policies, but how is it that we can achieve the goals of the Agenda 2030. And also we want to have an impact and to have a benefit on the society that we serve. If we move to the next slide, There are many lessons learned here on the screen. You see some of them. The importance of the environmental external control and the leadership of the OLACEF and other entities in order to move forward in every work that was done, the work that we've done in the INTO side, the work we've done not only with the SAIs, but other groups of work as the different technical commissions. Also, as the pandemic, we have been able to work and to innovate, to adapt, and to use a new paradigm for this kind of audits. We promote synergies, and we have learned about the value of exchanging information, not only between the SAIs, but with other regional institutions that have discussed with different OLACEFs with different INTO size.
Strategic partnerships is so important at a national and international level, looking at the 2030 agenda for global implementation and the relevant efforts as well, considering a strategic plan that it was created by the OLACEFs that has been updated with a quarterly strategic plan to coordinate initiatives that will have sustained impacts in the long run. And despite the challenges posed by the pandemic, the targets have been achieved gradually over the past months. Efforts have led to actions and initiatives that have pushed forward, looking at new perspectives for the audit community. We are very happy with the results, and we have actually achieved and surpassed 2 of our indicators thanks to the efforts that have been carried out throughout the project using the full structure of the OLACEFs. And here, in a nutshell, this all began with strengthening the OLACEFs back in 2012, in a project that started out in Bogota, and now we have just concluded this other project with all of you. And of course, from the achieved results, we want to do more. We hope to be able to share the news with you in the upcoming months. And therefore, I would simply like to point out that, yes, these are all the individuals that were involved in at least part of this project. I'd like to thank all of the authorities, the TCU, and many other players and strategic partners that have supported us and also contributed greatly to our results. I'd like to greet all of the institutions, and there's a long list of partners. To all of you, our wholehearted thank you. Thank you very much for your attention, and I hope we get to celebrate together. Mr. Erwin Ramirez, thank you very much for this summary, this clear and straightforward summary of the results. And of course, the relationship you've had with the TCU, with the OLACEFs, has been instrumental for the results. For the German cooperation efforts could not be carried out without the support. Thank you for your kind words, and we will now proceed with our agenda. We have Fabiana Diaz with us, an expert in communication who has supported the external control project in the environment and designing and producing the magazines and the video for the project. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome Fabiana, who is going to share her screen with us. So I will stop sharing my screen to allow Fabiana to share her own screen and the magazine. Thank you, Fabiana. Hello, good afternoon to all.
Hello, good afternoon, all of you. First of all, I want to thank you for the honor to be part of this session, in such an important project. I'm really honored by the invitation and also honored by the responsibility for materializing, for making this such an important magazine come true. This is such an enriching project with such important initiatives. So I hope you all feel very encouraged to know this magazine, which brings the results of the project. So to communicate is to create bridges. And how do we create the possibility of building a bridge with our counterparts, especially in a world as we have today, where we have a dissemination of information going in all different directions, especially at this moment when we are living a time of complex global challenges. Convergence becomes more and more important. How do we create these paths? This was a guiding principle that we use throughout the development of this publication, which is the possibility of telling the story of this project and all of its related activities. So that in the times that we're living, each one of us facing so many challenges, we know really well that there's a global agenda, the 2030 agenda, also the SDGs. And so we need this convergence and a commitment towards our sustainable existence. How do institutions, governments, and each one of us as citizens, how can we get engaged in this path? What is our role in the fulfillment of these goals and objectives? So hence comes the question, from the point of view of the project, how can we create these bridges that we need? How to mobilize the population, each one of us, so that we can commit and participate in the fulfillment of these collective goals? So we head towards the direction of understanding of what it means, what is the public goal for everyone here? What's the common ground? How can we mobilize towards this convergence? So we think that within our human subjectiveness, and that this project has worked strongly with each one of these institutions, playing a very important role in strengthening external control in the environmental area. We know that we can engage people bringing their sense of purpose. This asks us to simplify information so that people can understand it, but also to do it in an intelligent way so that they are not simply empty information. So here, to that goal, we need to share knowledge, experience, meanings, and values. And we did that in order to build this magazine with this magazine that is called Environmental Governance. This magazine, this publication required collaborative and very intense work along 11 months. Me and my colleagues, Luciano, Mateus, Gabriela, and Rodrigo, added to GIZ and OLACEF teams. We worked in the communication project with different commissions, working groups, committees to establish what would be a good way to co-create and co-create this publication and tell the story. So first we had a workshop to define the editorial plan and how to build a graphical design that could all work together so that we could present the story correctly. So we had more than 40 interviews, 11 months of work, as I told you, interviews with OLACEF professionals and other partner colleagues, more than 20 testimonials, so that together with this data collection, we could create this magazine that I'm introducing to you with so much honor. The magazine talks about different working fields of the project, what happened along these 5 years, what were the most important points. From the logical point of view, what was the impact cycle generated by the project and how it will offer benefits to society among all of these different impacts, all of this content is organized according to information groups. So the magazine describes each one of the coordinated audits. It brings a description of the process, and I think it's interesting to describe the audit, especially if the goal is exactly to strengthen internal and external communication. If you try to engage more people in this work, how much these audits are symbolic, they are symbolic so that people can understand the role of external control, which is a major element of all of this process. The audits that were carried out, they are here described in the magazine. The preparation that governments went through, the connection with the SDGs, coordinated audits on renewable energies in the electrical sector, governance of border policies. So there's a huge amount of information available. I hope you can make use of it. And also we talk about the process of capacity building within the OLACEFS framework. Some initiatives that are highlighted, the geotechnologies and environmental external control and innovative approaches in this area of audit. Also, we talk about communication-related initiatives, the development of our APP, coordination of the SAIs in the framework of the SDGs, a strategy that we carried out within OLACEF to engage internal and external stakeholders, and a virtual course on design of communication strategies applied to the project. In addition to that, we have information also on the approach related to development and management. There's a number of different testimonials, and that you see that they are highlighted here, and they illustrate how the process was. To tell such a story was really challenging, and I hope that this material serves its purpose. And when we open each one of these initiatives, and the magazine is already available in OLACEF website, each one of the initiatives has the identification of each one of the SAIs that participated. We created a correlation between the SDGs and each one of these initiatives. So what are the most relevant SDGs for this audit? And we did not want to create a technical magazine for technicians. The working group, during the seminar where we developed the editorial plan, we decided that it would be extremely important to speak in a simple and correct way that could reach technicians, auditors, partners of other SAIs, that could also reach non-technical people and organizations, for example, including stakeholders connected to the environment and external controls that not necessarily would be part of the SAIs. The intention is that each one of the chapter could reveal layers of additional information. So at the end of each one of the initiatives, we had some additional information, and some of them are very technical. It has been organized in such a way so that this magazine invite the reader to read more and more about the content, becoming more and more technical, in addition to very important testimonials that are additional to the content. I hope that you have a wonderful reading time. We hope that this magazine represents such a beautiful story, such a meaningful project, and that it's a pleasant moment to acquire knowledge, to generate memory on the project, but specifically to create situations that allow for a dialogue and a greater integration, especially in terms of the fulfillment of this greater global agenda to which we all work. So I really thank you for the honor of being able to participate in this publication. I thank OLACEF-GIZ, all the working groups and committees that were part of OLACEF, and on behalf of my colleagues, I want to greet you. Thank you.
Muchas gracias, Fabiana, por estos resultados y sobre todo
Thank you,
por esta
Fabiana,
visión de
for
cómo
sharing all of these
destacarnos de
results.
todas las capacidades que se vieron fortalecidas y todo lo que se
And
puede compartir aquí en esta
for
revista.
showing us all
Ya
that
pasaba a lo
we can
largo de
find in
estos
this
3 años en el
magazine,
sector
all the
agropecuario.
projects that have been carried
Fabiana, vamos a
out
continuar
throughout the
con
years.
la
And
última
now we are
parte
going
de la
to
agenda
proceed
técnica
to the
y para
last
ello le doy
part of
la
this technical
bienvenida
session. I
a
would like
Hugo
to
Chudyson.
welcome
Hugo
Hugo
es
Chudyson.
el
Hugo Chudyson
auditor del TCU y
is
representación
an
del
auditor of the
Consejo
TCU,
de
a
Sostenibilidad del
representative
Medio Ambiente
of
como
the
enlace técnico también para la
Technical
Comisión de
Commission
Desarrollo
for the
Sostenible y
Environmental
la OLACEFS.
Secretariat
Hugo
and the
Chudyson
OLACEFs.
va a
You
mostrar
have
la
the floor,
revista Future
Hugo.
del futuro.
Hugo is going
Oportunidades y
to
beneficios
talk
para el sector
about
técnico y para la comunidad
future
internacional en
outlook,
relación con el
opportunities,
diseño
and
superior.
benefits for
Hugo tiene
technical
un lenguaje
cooperation
de
among
expresión
the
en inglés
SAI's
para poder en
community.
contacto, pero
Hugo
lo escucharemos
is
en
joining
español.
us now. Thank you, Hugo.
Bienvenido.
Yes,
Adelante.
here I am. Hello. Can you hear me? Can you see
Ya
my
lo podemos ver y lo podemos
slides?
escuchar.
Yes. Yes to both. Okay, excellent. I'm very happy to be here. And I'd like to thank you for inviting me as the representative of the Court of Audit in Brazil and the OLACEF's representative. As we've heard, from Edwin and Fabiana, today is a special day. It is a landmark because we're closing a project that has contributed to improving environmental audits in the Latin American region. And from our part as TCU and COMTEMA, I would like to share some of the products we've delivered with this project. Looking backward, so we're going to look back and then look at the future. So let us begin by talking about the strategic plan that we designed, COMTEMA, for long-term results and to enhance the impact of our initiatives. So according to this plan, we have 4 strategic goals. First, to enhance our communication. This is key. Second, to create strategic partnerships. Third, to hold coordinated audits. Fabian is going to share some or all of them. And these are actually the high impact deliverables of OLACEF as a regional group. And fourth, to consolidate the capacity building actions through communication. And in the first objective, COMTEMA published the results of their efforts in different channels. That is through the size, the European Court of Audit, looking at biological diversity, and also at the CDD as part of the communication strategy of our commission. On the next slide, we will see that our strategic partnerships. Oh, go back, please. One slide. There you go. So we have the following partnerships with UNEP, that is the United Nations Environment Program. So we have created products, relevant environmental products and programs, as you can see here, environmental accountability, climate funding, which is globally relevant, and we're also going to create a platform this month with environmental information. I would like to take this opportunity to invite you to attend tomorrow's session on environmental funding, and you can actually register on this link. Next, looking at the strategic partnerships, there were other players that were involved. Our strategic partners include AFS in the US, GAO, the GAO from the United States, the GAO, US GAO, Government Accountability Office, the IUCN, the International Nature Conservation Unit. We are working together to create a cooperation agreement, and you have the work group in environmental audit for the international SAIs. And we are going to also take a closer look at our objectives. We have the coordinated audits.
Together with COMTEMA, we carried out certain audits. You can see here some of the audits that we conducted, one that has to do with the Sustainable Development Goals, and the regional audits as well were conducted. Now talking about objective number 4, this is the objective that has to do with training actions. Thanks to the support with the committee in charge of the capacities, we're strengthening the different SAIs in relevant topics for them. For instance, the performance audit, the MOOC, the protected areas audits, and also trying to put together a guideline. Moving to the next slide. So talking about the integration in this way, and if we move to the next slide a little bit further down, right here. Okay, so as you can see here, the TCU, which is the Brazilian SAI, which is the president or the chairman of the Environmental Committee, it's been aligned with COMTEMA, which aims at an integration with our commission, with the organization that it's aiming at having an integration with INTO-SAI as well.
Estamos atentos, es importante decir que estamos atentos
It's
a la...
important to say that we know the importance that the SDG have, and also the importance of the role of the SAIs as part of the 2030 agenda. We do have some products that were done with the support of the Environmental Technical Committee, with the support of the GIZ as well, which is the case of the preparation audit, also the SDG implementation audit. There's a coordinating monitoring process as well. And also we have a task force of the CCC, everything thinking all the time about the sustainable development. The last thing has to do with the contributions of the project. We were able to have great progress, always keeping in mind the strategic objectives. In a nutshell, we're talking about strengthening the institution, the capacities, also coordinated audits, as I mentioned before, and how to communicate the results, and also to set strategic partnerships. I would like to say that the external control for environment and agriculture here in Brazil, we play an important role to contribute towards the achievement of the goals of the project. I would like to stress that our engagement was important for many of the activities that you will learn from today. I would like to thank and to acknowledge the commitment of the COMTEMA team, just few members, and also would like to stress Adriano Rujas, Carlos Estosa, and Nashiel Velasquez's participation, and also would like to thank all those who contribute towards the achievement of the goals of this project. I would like to thank once again to all the players who were involved in this project as a whole, who contributed to the project so we can strengthening the external control on the environmental field. So for me, it's a pleasure to be here with you all today. Thank you very much.
Hugo, muchísimas gracias
Thank
por
you
su
very much
intervención.
for
Muchas
your
gracias por estos aportes y
comments. Thanks
también
for your
felicitaciones a todo el
input. And
equipo
also, I would like to congratulate the
toda
whole
esta
team
elaboración desde la TCU, la
for
articulación y la
everything they
coordinación
did
para avanzar en el
in the
reconocimiento de las
Brazilian
actividades.
SAIs and
Vamos
everything you've
entonces
done
a
in order
continuar
to
para
move
hacer
forward
el
with the
cierre de
different
esta
entities.
parte
So in order
eh,
to wrap up
técnica.
this
Queremos
technical
dar la
session, I
bienvenida
would like
a la
to
parte
welcome
protocolaria con la presentación de un corto video acerca del proyecto.
I would like to show you a short video about the project, and this is what we're going to show you right now. The regional project for strengthening external control on the environmental field in 5 years of activities contributed in order to strengthen the audit. So the region is now a reference when it comes to external control. The project was implemented by the OLACEFS and also by the TCU of Brazil with the support of the GIZ. The project has a legacy of cooperation, training, integrity, development, and mainly about acknowledging the importance of the external control for the environmental governance and for the whole society. Get to know the results.
Muy bien, entonces terminamos con nuestra sesión
So very
técnica.
well, the technical session is over. Now we're going to start this session in which we will have some words from important people who have been involved and who have been able to have the impact that we wanted with the project through different institutions and thanks to different relationship that it's needed. And that's why we would like to welcome the Ministry Augusto Nardes from the Brazilian SAI, who is the chairman of the Committee for the Creation of Capacities of OLACEF. He will be here explaining the contribution about the external control on environmental field. I would like to welcome the Minister, and I'm very happy to be with you today. Thanks, Patricia. Thank you. You have the floor. I don't want to speak in Spanish. I'd rather speak in Portuguese because this translation services offer. So I'm going to speak in Portuguese so I can use my mother tongue. Not a problem, please. You have to keep in mind that we have different channels. We do have one for Spanish, Portuguese, and people can use those different channels so you can use your mother tongue.
Prazer e uma honra para mim.
It's a pleasure and an honor to communicate with all of the friends in the cooperation in Latin America and the German cooperation, GIZ, and it's also a great satisfaction of talking about the advancements we achieved in the last few years in the Latin America continent. I would like to remind Peter Renagel, the first contact as a president of the Court of Audit of the Union of Brazil that established with the German Confederation. And throughout time and throughout cooperations we maintained, we could advance a lot in the Latin American continent. And therefore, my thanks to Peter de Nack and German cooperation. Now, Erwin is carrying out that. Erwin is also a dedicated person located in Mexico with a huge capacity of working to continue the work vis-a-vis the supreme audit institutions of all countries in Latin America and the Caribbean. So I would like to, first of all, highlight the competence and capacity of work for both Peter and Opeta and Erwin, continuing this partnership between TCU, GIZ, and OLACEFS. That was the catalyst, let's say, that allowed for carrying out different initiatives that provided our regional organization more relevance in the global context in our planet. What a dream when we started with 9 Brazilian states with coordinated audits in the states of the Amazon for environmental conservation that became this first coordinated auditing became a model, an example for all the countries in Latin America, and then it was converted in a manual for coordinated audits integrating whole Latin America. And with that, we established a manual for the whole world based on our experience with 14 indicators that we created for the improvement of parks and protected areas as according to the Aichi goals. And with that, we complied with our goals up to 2020, preserving 17% of what we forecast for our continent. And as this is common knowledge in the whole OLACEFS, in 2009, the German cooperation allowed for achieving the category of international body in external control, together with this resilient, perseverant, and gradual work carried out by OLACEFS and the German cooperation. In addition, I would like to highlight that this institutional work, when there is solidarity, which is extremely important, since 2011, we had around 20 coordinated audits. 20 coordinated audits. And not only in environmental area where Brazil has advanced a lot, although the international discourse against Brazil, which it is not true of the reality of Brazil and Latin America, because we conserve 63% of our territory. 63% of our private territory is preserved in the whole country. And most of Latin American countries also preserve their territories. So this German cooperation helped us in exchanging good practices amongst countries. So we had the honor of starting this initiative in the period where when I was president of OLACEFS between the years of 2013 and 14. And at that time, it was not common to observe this good practice among the SAIs, the Supreme Audit institutions, inside and outside OLACEFS. So currently, our institution is a model for other regions. Some initiatives were carried out with the support of GIZ. And once again, I would like to register the competence of the German cooperation for protected areas, but also other areas, as for instance, sanitation or environment in different sectors. So I would like to highlight that today we have a recognition of even of the United Nations. When I presided OLACEFS, I visited United Nations in US to show this work that is technical under the leadership of the SAIs, and we established this participation with 18 institutions, being 17 from OLACEFS, and including now Spain and Portugal, undoubtedly a transcontinental initiative, a model initiative. And I have a request for the German cooperation. I know that this part, and I hope you can translate it, because I will continue in Portuguese and I'm not following any script. provided by the technical committee, but I have a dream. I have a dream, and I can repeat later in Spanish. I have a dream of having an environmental conservation initiative of controlling in the whole planet, and Brazil will preside INTOSAI 150 countries in 2022 when we preside the INTOSAI. And in this dream, I would like to have a lot the German corporation that helped a lot and supplied the basis for this to come true, so we can make this idea of transforming what we started together with the corporation in a major project to have a world audit for environmental conservation and sustainable development with the indicators we created in Brazil and then in Latin America, 13 indicators for good governance. That is the central topic that I defend the implementation, not only in Brazil, but the whole Latin America, and why not international level. It was proved now with COVID that we had a more solidarity and cooperation in Latin American continent. We could establish a better prevention and avoid the deaths by COVID. We can do in the future for the planet as we advance a lot with the German cooperation in this area of environmental conservation. So I can say that there is no other region in the planet, my dear colleagues in OLACEFS, that have such a development knowledge in terms of coordinated audits as OLACEFS, and aiming to promote this good practice globally. I believe we could have a cooperation with all the countries in the cooperation. I said that, I discussed that with some leaderships. We currently have Norway that leads this part. We could establish a cooperation together with the German cooperation. That's why I make this plea, this request for the German cooperation unites us in this global project for environmental preservation by means of the indicators we created, which would be a push for the whole supreme audit, not only in Latin America, but all the planet through INTOSAI. And I have some words about the actions of CCC that we carried out already, 2 diagnoses of detection of capacity building need among the SAIs and OLACEFS in the years of 2016-17 to detect priority areas to develop capacity and competence for the technical bodies of the institutions in our region. In both moments, we have the valuable contribution of the German cooperation, and currently we have more than 5,000 auditors that we trained not only to carry out audit in sustainable development, but also other areas. And with all the countries taking part actively in this cooperation, I would like to highlight the very important work of the current president of OLACEFS, Nelson Schack, and the general secretary, Mr. Bermúdez, representing Chile. So Peru and Chile are brothers in this. They are following probably what I'm saying. And I would like to thank very, very much Bermúdez and Nelson Schack at work. With this work had counted with 20 of the 22 members of OLACEFS in a collaborative work with contributions of approximately 1,400 employees of the entities participating in all these diagnostics and indicators that were basis to produce 2 training plans to respond to the demand of our institutions to assign resources in an efficient way. And the first plan covered the triennium of from 2016 to 2018, and we were able to establish noteworthy work between 2016 and 2020, offering more than 150 training initiatives. So the German cooperation helped us to carry this out, and with that, we trained not 5,000, but 8,000 servers, 8,000 employees in the whole Latin America. This new diagnosis is being carried out with a new monitoring to prepare the training plan for 2022-2024. In this context, OLACEFS also invested heavily in training, in virtual training, because we are living in a new world, the new normal, through on topics of great interest for external control. Examples of that was the coordinated project prepared by the Brazilian TCU, the Court of Accounts of the Union of Brazil, the massive open online courses, MOOC, in Spanish, Portuguese, and English. So we have capacity of working in the 3 languages with a significant reach among professionals interested in both subjects.
Since 2018, 4,900 people were trained by our MOOC, our massive online course, on the SDGs. We are working to materialize the 17 SDSs. This was done partly in English, partly in Portuguese, and partly in Spanish. So we are prepared to train the whole Latin America with the extraordinarily important support of the German society and the German cooperation. So summarizing our work, we can say today that we have 3,300 people trained in Spanish, 715 Portuguese, and also hundreds of people trained in English. So we are not confined to our own borders. We want to show to the whole country that we are able to lead this movement for sustainable development, not only in our continent, but also showing to other countries the good practices that sometimes are negatively exposed by the world media. As a rural producer that I am, recently I launched an initiative to plant 100 million of trees through guidance that we offered to 5 different ministries of the federal government. We are recovering water springs in the center west of Brazil to cover the bed of all the San Francisco River. So I am saying that through this capacity building committee in Latin America and Caribbean, we offer great work, not only at the regional level, but at the global level. I like to say that we also offer different webinars with participation of more than 16,000 people as a proof of our power of mobilization to allow so many people to get trained. This idea of this exchange and of good practices, we are doing not only in Brazil, but in the whole Latin America. Now we also have cooperation work with voluntaries of this network that we call Brazil Governance Network. So I want to greet specifically through Nair. Nair is the person who is responsible for our Secretariat of International Relations in our Court of Audit. So she is responsible not only for the work in this area, but also in our fight against corruption. I propose the creation of a Latin American network against corruption, and OLACEF's current president gave us all the support for the creation of this Latin American network against corruption, REALCI, that will work in cooperation with OLACEF and other sectors. In order to transform this into a permanent work, we must implement governance in all Latin American continent. Yesterday, I talked to Bermúdez and Chaves saying that we should do this through our institutions, but also through people who will do this through voluntary work. So regardless of these institutions, this deserves continuation. Nelson, Shark, Bermúdez, and Nardes, we must leave a legacy of the awareness of the importance of this network against corruption, and also the objective of sustainable development. So we have the strategic goal for the long and mid-term, not only for the short term. So we are working in all areas, and I want to make it really clear that we work according to the 17 SDGs, not only in terms of sustainability, but also gender equality. We also working towards the creation of a policy for gender equality in all sectors, using the Intosai system as a basis. So to close, I want once again to invite the GIZ, Erwin, Patricia Bermúdez, and all the leaders of the German society so that we can think together and we can dream higher in terms of promoting like a global audit in 2022 and 2023, so we can protect not only Latin America, but all the other continents in terms of this environmental conservation, the conservation of protected areas. We have a Latin America conservation map today so that all countries can keep the same kind of conservation, creating internal policies, engaging different ministries. And I repeat that in this project that I've been leading, we have already 5 ministries recovering water springs in Brazil. So I hope that we can exchange good practices with other nations of the world, so we can bring this model not only to Latin American countries, but for all continents of the world. So congratulations, Erwin, congratulations, Patricia Bermúdez and the GIZ for all of their work in the defense of the Latin American continent, and but also in the African continent and in different areas of the world. So thank you.
Ministro Nardes, muchas gracias. Muchas gracias por
Thank you for your kind words and for sharing about the German cooperation. Thank you for your words. And yes, we have been, of course, leveraging this process, and I'm very happy you also mentioned this strong network that will actually move this process forward. And yes, we have made inroads. Importantly to mention that. Thank you for your kind words. And yes, as Mr. Ramirez and Patricia have also highlighted, we have been making progress. Thank you to all of you for your kind words. And now I would like to welcome the Comptroller General of the Republic, Professor of Environmental and Administrative Law, Mr. Jorge Bermúdez Soto, who's also the Executive Secretary of the OLACEFS. Would you please open your camera and microphone, please, to share your inputs on the inputs of our impacts at a national and international level? Thank you and welcome once again. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you once again. Good afternoon to all. I'm very happy to meet you. I'd like to greet you and my colleagues, panelists, and the president and the chair of OLACEFS, to those who have joined us throughout the panel session. At the Executive Secretariat, I would like to share the following. I would like to, share a brief presentation that we've put together at the Comptroller General's office in Chile. So I hope you can see my screen. I would like to mention first and foremost that this project will leave a legacy, of course, on top of many different products, capacity building, on top of all that it has already delivered. It will deliver a sustainable OLACEFS, a sustainable organization. And it's the first thing I'd like to highlight. So this is a project that started out at a regional level within our organization, and it started because different countries in Latin America were eager to actually create a project with this scope and reach, because as part of the OLACEFS, ever since I took over as a secretary, I realized that it's a very serious endeavor. I don't mean to be modest, neither arrogant, but we are one of the few organizations of the kind that has taken on this commitment towards the SDGs. So seriously, we've been working together, and we have organized our efforts to attain these goals. And these goals are an important roadmap for us as the SAI in the region. And this audit, well, is coordinated and has produced this project and many other products that you are familiar with and that have been mentioned earlier. An audit to prepare governments to roll out the SDGs, or SDG 5 on gender equality, which has been key and discussed at a global level on renewable energies and environmental liabilities, in the mining industry. So this joint effort is key, and we should persevere and continue our efforts and working together. As my friend Augusto Nardes said, tomorrow, or actually the next year, we are going to maybe have a global coordinated environmental audit. That would be a major achievement. I'm convinced that under the presidency of the TCU in Brazil, we will definitely be able to do that, and you will definitely have the support of the SAI in Chile. I think it can speak on behalf of my organization. We will be ready to give you full support. So how are we organized? How do we carry out these audits? We have multilateral institutions that support us. We have the German cooperation. We are grateful to this institution, to the German Society for International Cooperation and other experts. And within our organizations, the SAIs, we do capacity building to keep on developing and acquiring new skills. And the product of this dialogue, well, are the products we are presenting today. The reports that have been generated from this long-standing cooperation with the German Society and the products that have been delivered, a result of this fruitful dialogue between multilateral institutions, the German Society, and the GIZ, and our organizations. And we've been seeking to address the environmental liabilities. We concluded our work last week. Once again, an example of the cooperation in reaching one common goal. Among the things we have been doing, I would mention, on one hand, the capacity building efforts, and mainly I would like to focus on the last point, which reads to learn by doing. Our stakeholders, they become experts, specialists. As we continue to work together, we learn more about what we do as we do by doing, and therefore we can all grow. And the results are also presented in the reports. We should also bear in mind that the results must be made visible, and the magazine comes to meet this objective. We want to give visibility to the results. We want to communicate all that has been achieved. And many different activities have been carried out throughout the project, and some Erwin has touched on, and we've had great support, valuable support from the German society. It's been valuable. These activities are the foundation, the underpinnings for further cooperation among institutions. You also should also mention the relevant aspects of the OLACEF that I would like to share with all of you. It has to do with financial sustainability, which is key to all institutions, and particularly our organization. Here on these charts, I would like to point out on the left-hand side, in year 2014, we had these revenues per membership or subscription, the available funds, current funds, and the budget. In 2017, we had the budgets to rise to new challenges. The budget was lower, and as an organization, we were not prepared to embark on new projects. But thanks to the international cooperation, and particularly to the GIZ and to measures we took at our organization, we can say we are sustainable today because many different projects are rolled out year after year, and therefore we do have the budget to design new activities that we can roll out, as you can see on this chart, which is, of course, also projected on the right-hand side. So what were the key measures we took? Austerity measures, fund management measures. So we looked at how we would regulate our funds. And secondly, we had to manage our events and organize our events, define whether they would be held on site or remotely. With the pandemic, of course, they've all been remote, but prior to the pandemic, these were decisions we'd have to make. We were also holding remote meetings and therefore would reduce costs. Before the pandemic, we've also had support from the international cooperation, and we have also promoted different technologies. The use of different technologies we have our website and our database that is available to all, and technology has played a key role in the process. We have a modern structure that has been updated, and all of this has happened through the support of the GIZ over the past 5 years. Why is it important to mention the international cooperation? I would say that this should, of course, be sustained over time. And as a SAI, we play a role that in many different areas. We can share objective information for optimal public management, government management, for more strategic decisions to be made. So we have the OCDE and the SAIs, and of course the audit committees play a key role in the process. The support we receive from the GIZ has been strategic. It has been key and has allowed for going forward more easily and more sustainably. We have now transformed the OLACEFs. Our organization has become a role model for the SAIs because of the number of activities we've carried out and the impact we have had. It is key to actually continue having the support, to continue learning, and the GIZ will continue to play a key role in this regard, and to have public institutions to become more reliable, to gain the trust of civil society, to strengthen democracy and the rule of law, particularly, and to fight corruption. There are different forums where we have played a role to bring these activities to the fore in a cross-cutting manner. Here we have some of the activities, all of the activities we've been involved in, the presidency, the secretariat, the work groups, where we have actually been involved with all of these projects. The seminars, the workshops, the COP25 on climate change, the UN Women meetings. So just to give you an idea of how actively we've been involved in all of these activities, we also believe that maintaining the international cooperation, and particularly with the GIZ that support, we will be able to contribute more to implementing the SDGs and achieving and surpassing the SDGs, promoting objective number 5, particularly, which we take very seriously, promoting gender equality and non-discrimination, and to also combat corruption at all levels. It has to be an overarching action.
Isso
And
sob
this
a
also
base da
has to do
cooperação e
with
uso
the
de
intensive
tecnologias
usage
que
of
possam
technology.
impulsionar esses dados. Muito
Thank you very
obrigado por ter
much
me escutado.
for listening to
Parabéns pelo
my
projeto,
presentation.
pelos seus
Congratulations
resultados
for the
e espero
project,
que
for the
possamos
outcomes, and
continuar
I
a
hope we can
colaborar.
keep on
Muito obrigado.
working together in this
Controlador
project. Thank you,
Bermúdez,
Mr.
muito
Bermúdez,
obrigado.
for his remarks and for showing the results, and also for the help that you had offered and your support. I would like now to welcome the Comptroller, General Comptroller Office, Nelson Schack, who is the chairman of the OLACEF, and as the Peruvian Comptroller General Officer, and he's here with us as the chairman of the OLACEFs. So, Mr. Schack, you have the floor. Please turn on your camera. If I'm not mistaken, you will be doing your presentation. Thank you very much. And I welcome you. Thanks to you, Patricia. Good afternoon. For me, it's a pleasure to be with you all today here, being part of this celebration in which we celebrate the closure of such a great project that taught us so much. I would like to greet Jorge Bermúdez, the Comptroller Officer of Chile. I would like to also greet the Minister Augusto Nardes. Also, I would like to greet Mr. Ramirez and all the colleagues from different SAIs and from different international entities who are with us here today. I fully agree with what have been said, Augusto and Jorge. I believe this is a time in which we have to be very happy because we're here to be witnessing the closure of such a great project. I would like to greet and to celebrate and to thank all of you, especially the human group or the group of people who have allowed us to achieve all the goals that we just mentioned. I would like to thank not only the team and the work that has been done, but also I would like to thank the GIZ and the Ministry for Development of Germany. It's been almost a decade of history, and the GIZ have been strategic partners of many of our countries, and specifically have been partners of OLACEF in order to foster some improvements on the quality of the life, not only of the citizens, but also to improve the rule of law of many of our countries. This cooperation started back when it was a project OLACEF-GIZ, and that's how this relation started. And today, thanks to this project, we have a very important landmark that is part of this strengthening of external control on the environmental field. Almost all the SAIs which are part of the OLACEF have been involved, and we have been able to contribute not only on the environmental arena, but also on strengthening the capacities needed in order to meet one of the most important responsibilities of the SAIs in our region, which is to help on meeting the goals of the Agenda 2030 that have to do with the SDG. And this is something that is part of our daily work and that has to do not only with the audits that were conducted, also has to do with the capacity of governments in order to achieve the goals of the Agenda 2030. We need to audit the degree of compliance, and we need to have an impact on the government through our reports and our recommendations, so the actions that need to be taken in order to meet those goals can be taken, and to implement any actions needed. And we need to have the capacity in the SAIs to be able to suggest certain measures of different public policies. So I think that the contribution of this project has been key. We need to recall all the work that has been conducted over the last years as part of the guidelines and methodologies that we've been working on that has to do with environmental audits. Also, we need to remember how we have created different networks and different networks for international cooperation that has allowed us to do many events together as the coordinated audits that have been mentioned here, not only during the technical session, but during the session that followed. Also, I remember all the webinars, all the workshops, all the courses, and also an important effort that has been made, which is very important, and the effort that has to do with strengthening the capabilities to have internal and external communication with the different stakeholders. We oftentimes are so concerned on putting together reports and on conducting research. The greater the quality of the technical reports, the better. Sometimes we are able to produce wonderful products that we want to publish not only on the website, but also on specific magazines. We need to acknowledge that audits, not only on the environmental area, are the results of extraordinary research. But sometimes we realize that this is a product, a very valuable product that could create knowledge. But on top of that, we need to create or to have an impact of those reports. And there's no other way to have impact on the direct improvement on any public policy. We need to think about how we can impact the quality of life of people thanks to recommendations that can be rolled out. But for that, we need to give visibility and we need to be able to communicate them well. I remember all the efforts that were part of this project, not only on the environmental arena, but in other aspects that are cross-cutting, like for instance, the course that was given for designing everything needed for the audit products and how to forget how all the different entities of OLACEF were involved in this project and how we got all the help in order to put together the tactical plan for 2022. We also need to think about COMTEMA and the different CCCs. There are many reasons to be thankful, and I'm very happy because we were able to learn together. As we said in our countries, we were able to work together and learn together, but also we need to be aware that we need to keep on working together. GIS has been a strategic partner of OLACEF, and this is not something that is just happening now. It's a long-lasting relationship, and I hope that in another webinar like this, we can be talking about this new project that we're thinking about together with the GIZ that has the support of the German ministry that has to do with the strengthening of external control, not only in the environmental area, because I think that we have met all the expectations on this arena, but rather to think about how we can combat corruption. This is a virus that, as well as the pandemic, has killed so many people in our countries. And this is something that is part of our reality for many decades, for many centuries, and that little by little, without having much visibility, is also killing, because corruption kills as well. So I think that the international cooperation support through this new project that will allow us to have a greater level of governance, a greater accountability process, among other things, it's something that is going to be key. And I'm really hopeful, and I hope this can be as successful as this strengthening external control environmental project has been. So I would like just to thank, and once again to congratulate you all, and I would like to go back to what I said at the beginning. We are celebrating this a lot of things that we need to keep on doing together. I would like to thank the GIZ and all the SAI's members and participants who have been really active on working on the different goals and projects that have been done as part of this regional initiative. I'm sure that thanks to the work that has been conducted as part of this project, the different SAIs, all those who are members of the OLACEF, we have a better position in the international context, and we are seen as a role model in everything that has to do with the environment. And I'm sure that we are contributing in an effective manner, fostering an improvement of the quality of life of our citizens, and we are also contributing for a better human development in our region. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chak, for your remarks, and also for welcoming this new path that we see that is now being created as part of the different work that is being done by different institutions that are here. I would like to take the opportunity to offer some minutes to Erwin Ramirez, who will have some closing remarks so we can wrap up this session of the day. And for that, I offer the floor to Mr. Ramirez. Thank you very much, Patricia. Thank you to my colleagues from Peru and Chile. Thanks to Mr. Bermúdez, to Mr. Chudyson. Thanks all of you for your valuable remarks, and thanks for the presence and the words of the Ministry, Augusto Nardes. And also, I would like to thank you not only for being here with us today, but also for all the support that you have offered so we can implement in a successful way this project at the regional level. Different colleagues are here with us from Guatemala, from Argentina, together with other authorities. I would like once again to thank those who started this project. Also would like to thank Peter Ignarger, who was mentioned before. These initiatives are part also of global efforts that are being implemented in other regions. So today, thanks with our counterparts in Brazil and other entities who are part of the work that we do at the regional level, we can see how the contents, the good practices, best practices, and everything that we've been doing is just another opportunity to exchange knowledge, to exchange everything we've learned as a result of this project. And this is the result of the effort of the auditors and those who are members of the different OLACEFs. And I would like to thank the presidency. I would like to thank the different commissions, my colleagues in Brazil. I would like to thank them as well. Those who are backstage as well in the GIZ, I would like to thank them all. Please stay safe, and I would like to wish you a good afternoon. This session has been recorded thanks to the support of the Secretariat, and it will be uploaded to the OLACEF YouTube channel in the 3 different languages. The magazine has been uploaded to our website, so I hope to see you soon. And I hope I can bring updates that have to do with perspectives that have to do with cooperation and different works that we're going to do in the different OLACEFs. Thank you, Erwin, and thanks to all of those who join us today as part of the closure of this project in which we want to show all the results obtained. That's all that we have for today. And I hope you can keep in mind that you're going to receive information about all the tools and everything that has been shared today. And I hope you can have a good afternoon or a good night for those who are in Europe today. Thank you very much.